Have you ever argued in your relationship? Do you argue a lot? And do you have any advice about arguing in a relationship?
I don't argue. Becky argues. Don't argue.
What do you mean, don't argue? You don't say anything.
Yeah.
Let the other person just talk.
No, disagreements.
That's really healthy.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, disagreements are inevitable. There's good arguing and bad arguing. When volumes are turned up, it's probably not a good argument. So you need to be wise and harmless as doves when you're trying to hash things out. You got to focus on the end goal. Arguing, it's hard not to argue because the closer you get to somebody, the more you get exposed to their awesomeness and their complete failures. So you just need to be aware that we're all failures in some capacity, and we still love each other and respect each other. So an argument or debate or discussion, whatever you want to call it, both parties need to have the same goal in mind, which is resolve. But you're lying if you say you'll never argue.
I think something, I know it's helped Jen and I dramatically is like, as the Coopers expressed over here, like guys and girls are really different, right? And just the way we process things is very different. And something that's helped Jen and I with a lot of disagreements or misunderstandings is like Brandon said, is purposing to speak kind to one another, even if you aren't seeing eye to eye with one another. But a little phrase that Jen and I use a lot whenever there's a discussion being had is we say, what I hear you saying is, and then whatever. Because I might be saying something to Jen, and she's kind of perceiving it and processing it completely different than I'm meaning it, and vice versa. Because, I mean, there's communication styles are different, and I might be totally not meaning to give her a certain vibe or give her a certain perception on something where it brings that to clarity. Because, you know, we've had a discussion where we talk for 40 minutes about it, and then at the end of it, it's like, well, wait a minute, no, that's totally not what I was meaning, you know? And so just inputting that kind of into the conversation is, so what I hear you saying is this, it really brings a lot of clarity to a discussion or a misunderstanding or disagreement really fast.
I think scripturally, you're supposed to look as your spouse is better than yourself. Obviously, dating, you guys aren't married, so it translates a little bit differently. But in the same regard, like, when I'm arguing, what am I doing to my spouse who's supposed to, like, I'm supposed to better him, and he's supposed to be better than me, and why am I doing that? Like, what is my end goal at the end of our discussion about where we should go on vacation? Like, what's my end goal? Do we want to go on a nice vacation and enjoy our time together? Or do I just really want to stick it to him that I want to go here and he wants to go there? We don't have a vacation, but and I also think for Brad's statement is perception is reality. And that's what we say a lot sometimes too, is what I'm perceiving is what my, like, the reality is. So let's figure out a way to get back on that.
I just want to say that you don't have to raise your voice at each other ever. I've been married to this woman for 11,988 days. Really. And this woman has never raised her voice at me. And that is a testament to rules that we made when we were dating. We said we're not going to call each other names, and we are not going to yell at each other. And a lot of that's because it's just disrespectful, and it does not go to where you guys want to go. You want to resolve it, And I would highly suggest when you start dating or when you start thinking about dating, that's a rule that you make, and it's a non-negotiable. We will not yell at each other. That's just my 2 cents.
Kind of an extension of that. One of the questions was, what should I do if my significant other gets violent? And moving on for that, like, if you have those non-negotiables, like we're not going to yell at each other, you know, like, is there, if the other person doesn't fight fairly or doesn't argue well, what do you do? What's the thought? You can start with the violent part.
You can change them.
No.
Yeah, you're, to me, it's a deal breaker, in a nutshell. Violence of any significant kind is unacceptable to the nth degree.
Because it never ends.
Yeah,
Never.
it's
no
not,
matter how
yeah,
much they say,
yeah.
they love you, I'll change, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, that hot and cold isn't healthy for you or the relationship. Even if you think you could deal with it, it's an instant deal breaker. So you be on guard for that kind of stuff. You know, any sort of red flags that point to potential for that instability in your significant other. That's not something you gloss over or turn a cheek to. That's a big deal.
And it's not to say that that doesn't come easily. I think there are people, maybe not up here, I don't know what everyone else's dating history is like, that you might have not been in a healthy dating relationship, not violently or anything. And it's hard to get out of a relationship that you've committed to or that you've said, I love you, even at like 15. There's a hard tie to that. So if you're going through something like that, please talk to somebody. But in all seriousness, obviously, you hear, he's hitting me, he's beating me, you think, get out of that. I know it's a lot easier said than done.
One of the things that I just am going to put it in here now, I really encourage you to make, and when I say this, understand, make a list of things that you're looking for in a spouse or even a boyfriend, okay, girlfriend. These are the things that he's going to respect me. She's going to make a list before you start dating. Because once you start dating, then you start fitting that person into those desires.
And don't compromise.
And
on
don't compromise.
Yeah, good point, Colin.
There's a difference between maturity and destructive behavior and destructive attitudes, and you need to know the difference.
Yeah, thinking about this stuff, like, violence isn't the threshold. So as long as they've never hit you, it's okay. You know, there are a lot of steps between that. And with the arguing thing, the thing that I kept coming back to is the idea of mutual respect. If you're in a relationship with somebody that you respect them and they respect you, it's going to change the way that you disagree. It's going to change the way that you fight, you know.
And that's scriptural.
Right.
Like he mentioned, it's Philippians chapter 2.
Right, yeah. And if you're in a relationship with somebody that you have no respect for, you're not going to value their opinion on things. You're going to argue much differently. And vice versa. If they don't have respect for you, then that's going to be true. And, I mean, yelling is a big thing. Just losing your temper. And I would say even, I've heard it, they're nice to me, but they're not nice to anybody else. That's not a good thing either. See how they treat your friends, their parents, your parents.
And even what they say to you, too. Like, not just physical abuse or, you know, not being nice to people, but, like, if they're, like, constantly degrading you, like, get out of that. Like, you should not have friends or significant others that do that to you.
50 years is a long time of that.
Mm-hmm.